I think it's been a long time since I did any type of similar live stream before, and I don't know if I'll have any people joining here, but I feel like there are things to share, and we've been through a lot, and you've probably seen my previous video, and I haven't been active so much on Instagram because you understand what's happening, and a lot of news are coming from all sides, and I think my place is to share something personal that I know that's happening to my family, to my friends, and from trusted sources of information. So you will know what's happening. This is me, how I look when during the war, because we don't care anymore how we look like, if we have makeup on or not, what we wear. I'm wearing something green because I want to support the spirit of my people in the Ukraine who are fighting and who are doing everything to help stop the aggressor. And our people are really amazing, and I think everybody needs to come a little bit forward now, because now we've been through 14 days of the war. Yesterday, on the 8th of March, everybody wants to celebrate and have the spring, little day to celebrate the spring, the womanhood, and all. Girls usually want to have something together, go for lunch or for drinks, and our life changed dramatically for these 2 weeks. So none of my friends is celebrating anything. Everything we could think about is the cities that are in siege, the kids that are threatened. And I'm asking again, yeah, a lot of people have donated. Thank you for this. But we are in the middle of this crisis, and one of the cities in Ukraine. This is really, really important to understand for you. So as I explained in my previous video, so in the south of Ukraine, we have the Crimea and we have the Donbas region that were currently occupied by the Russians. And one of the cities just on the coast of the Black Sea is also blocked by them, and it's not possible to get through. They have been left without any water supply, any electricity supply, no internet. So people don't have any connection with the families. They don't know what's happening. And yesterday, a little girl died because of dehydration, and this is 2022, and I can't share about it enough. And the BBC was covering everything in the news, and people were trying to help to spread the information, but still there was like no real action. And I feel like, and Ukrainians feel like, we're already doing so much fighting this aggression, and this aggression can come to other European countries. You probably understand that. I just had a really nice conversation with some of my friends from Romania and Poland, and yes, they are also feel like this could happen to them, this threat could come to them. So it's better if all the world comes together to fight the evil, just as it happens in the books. So please, like, we all know, like, we know the history, we know what happened during the Nazi Germany. So this is very similar thing. This is like, without any valid reasons, another country, the Putin, I can't say about all the Russian people, but the Putin sends troops just to kill normal Ukrainians without any reasons. And I'm the Russian speaking Ukrainians, there are many others, and we lived in a very beautiful growing democratic country, and we are very patriotic of our country. So we really want war to come away from us. We want to live on our land, and we want to work there. We want to keep our businesses and give jobs to other people in Ukraine who work for us. And a lot of people just have like really normal and peaceful lives, and this cares so much about where they live, and they don't want to go to Europe. Yes, Europe is helping a lot, accepting all of refugees. A lot of people indeed left the Ukraine. A lot of my friends, yeah, maybe I'll just need to change the tone and calm down a bit. So just tell you some of the real stories. So the cities in east, that Kharkiv, and some of these places are really close to Russia, and they didn't want to go to Russia. They went in the middle of Ukraine to the west, to Lviv, So currently, all the places in all the hotels and all the rental places in Ukraine in the West, they are full, and the prices are rising there because there's a lot of Ukrainian people. They don't feel like leaving their country because it will be a really long drive for them. So they stay and they want to be Ukrainians on their own lands. That's why and a lot of countries are already helping. I know they're sending everything, and actually, like the whole world is coming together, and all Ukrainians who live abroad, they're helping a lot by raising fundraising and organizing all the medical aid. I think it just takes a little bit of time to for things to be shipped there, to delivered there, and then distributed among the people in Ukraine, because some of the normal, like routes and ways of deliveries were just like chained, or some of them are currently not working because they're occupied by the occupants. But I wanted also to cheer you up, that to say that Ukraine was doing really, really well, despite that it was really unexpected. Nobody was expecting this to happen. Although like America was sharing that like they have these threats, we didn't believe, and a lot of our people didn't believe. So everybody just stay where they are. So I'm gonna share with you some of my favorite, channels that and Instagrams from the live coverage, and showing how people defeated like some of the bad tanks, some of the aggressors. There were so many young boys who were just so like heartbroken because Russian army sent all of these like 20-year-old boys to Ukraine, and a lot of them are held by Ukrainians in the captivity, and we care about them. We let like Ukrainian people let them call their mothers, and there's so many videos on the internet of these boys like calling their mothers. I think I shared some of them, and people like questioning these soldiers, because we speak, I think it was a similar situation what happened in during the Second World War, but they didn't speak the same language. Germans couldn't speak to Russians or Ukrainians, so they would be lost in transit. But now we can actually speak to them. So whatever we speak to them, like why did you come here? And they would say, oh, like they were told us some you have bad government and you wanted to change the government, and we were sent to you to help you. And we're like, no, it's not true. Like, we are a democratic country, we choose our own government, presidents. So please, like, just go away from our land. We don't want to deal with you. We didn't invite you. People are really being strong hearted. It's not about the hate, but these people disrupted all of their lives, and they bombed the cities, and businesses stopped, and everything stopped, and we are losing the money every day. But Russia is losing even more money. I think it was estimated that around $20 billion they spend each day of the war here. And it's just playing with the lives of the kids, of the people, and of course I think majority of the normal and people who are able to think in Russia, of course they don't support it. So there's actually a very, very big problem with the Russian hate these days. Especially some people already live in the West, and they don't speak up as well, because they're not used to it. You have to understand, people are not used to speaking up. But I think dear Russian friends who live in London, in other places, and you don't support the war, you didn't vote for Putin, you need to come out now and speak up and share among your friends that this is your position, you don't support it, you're against the war, support Ukrainian army if you can. And yeah, before this might be a long video, just before you left, I want to have if there's any like European community people here or US people here who are watching, if you really want to help, now we just need to turn the minds of all people on this problem. And Ukraine is asking for the world, for the NATO and European countries and the US to vote to close the sky over the Ukraine, because this is something that would really help right now, because we are being bombed, our schools, some of the places that are really peaceful, they never do any harm to anybody. They just been destroyed. And as I told you, the little girl had died of dehydration in our day and age, and everybody was watching this, everybody was following. So I think it's really unacceptable. We are smaller, we're not like smaller, but we are younger country, but we are doing so much in this, and we are getting a lot of support. And I understand what's happening on the people from the people of more like younger countries that join NATO, like the Romania, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. They might be afraid that Russia also comes to them. From our experience, from everything that was shared now in the news and the internet, it seems that um, Putin, yes, he wanted this invasion, he wanted this war. It was in his head, and they were, putting some money into this army, but the army is not like it's not anywhere. Even like the Ukrainian army is very easily defeating it on the land. They're still using some weaponry, like some from the plane, the rockets. I don't know how they call it because I work in fashion. I don't want to talk about this, but this is a very important topic. I think I'm getting a question here, which I'll address in a second. But considering everything that's happening, yes, a lot of money is sent, a lot of money is raised. There's no more need to actually send donations or funds. Maybe later when Ukraine will start rebuilding, like we'll be able all to invest safely in a country that's going to be out of the war. But now we need to share. So if you are a citizen of the UK, of the EU, of the US, please address your representative in a parliament that you voted for. Send them email saying that you understand the situation in the world is right now as it is, and we're asking to close the sky over Ukraine because very innocent civilians and children are dying because of the aggressor. And if all the world comes together to fight this aggressor, we are going to be better off. We will defeat it, and we will not have to live in fear anymore, because I feel like all the Europe is living in the fear. Maybe Ukraine is like more lucky to be in Europe. I know that conflicts are happening in other locations as well, like in Yemen, like in Syria, but they're really far away from Europe. That's why we don't know about them personally. But I just spoke to some of my friends from Poland, from Romania, and people are thinking about it. Even people from France, from the UK are thinking about it because it's very close, it's very real. So the enemy has to be stopped. We, for the past week, as I told you, we tried to address the Russian people to try to get them to understand it's a really, really big deal and they have to stop what their government is doing. But despite many efforts of me and other Russian-speaking Ukrainians who did it, we just understood it. They're not going to commit. They're not ready. It's just not, the next step they're willing to take. That's why there's so many sanctions that the world is trying to help, Russian people to put their government and trash them in the garbage, because there's nothing else that could be done. So, but the sanctions are already happening, and very soon I feel like it's going to be not just like the economic collapse of Russia, unfortunately, but it might be even split into different countries. And yes, somebody is asking me that, uh, okay, so on the Russian side of the TV, that is like a propaganda TV, they say, we have so much threat from these Ukrainians. They have like labs that are creating the biologic weapons. Do you really believe that? So the country that actually is invented Novichok and other drugs to kill the Navalny, to kill other people, Litvinenko guy, the story of Litvinenko in London, and like the polonium that was all over London. I was just like recently listening to the podcast about what was happening. So British police was like very, very shocked, and Scotland Yard was like really, really shocked that this crime could happen on the UK land. So, the Russia is the enemy. So if you can hear me, just like research about like the Novichok and the Litvinenko case, the guy who was killed in the UK using the biological weapons. And Russians are made to think that everybody wants to attack them. But, people just like people of the whole world just have their own lives. Well, I don't think it's true what you're saying. You're saying that there are biological laboratories in Ukraine, and they do what? They create COVID, or what do they create exactly? I think in the heads of the Russian people, they think that everybody is an enemy, so they fail to think about themselves first. You just should think about like what is good for you, like investing government money into hospitals and schools and education and culture or whatever else, and instead like funding the army, creating the army that always will have some issues to address, to fight. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this anymore. So there were some pretty cool things that were happening, and we actually felt like the ice started to melt on the Russian side as well, because they're really weak and they are failing in this war. I think they expected that it will take them just 3 days to go and take all the majority of Ukrainian cities, and people will not mind. They will say like, okay, we just want peace. Like it's like the same as Belarus, like they invaded, and the people, they say like, we don't want to fight you, we just want peace, and we just want to uh, just don't kill us. Okay, you can set up your government here. We don't mind. We just don't want any shootings, any wars. So just go for it. I think maybe it works for places like Crimea, for people in Crimea who are ex-military. They just live off the government money, like pensions and salaries from from the navy and from like all the military sector. And part of the people in Crimea also, like a lot of them are sailors, and they work on contracts, and they go in a sea, so it's commercial ships, so they work for international companies and they get money in dollars. So they actually, the type of government that sits in the Crimea does not have any effect on them whatsoever. People who had effect on them from the government, like businessmen, like entrepreneurs, they had to lose their businesses, they have to sell their businesses, and they left Crimea. So it was not good for people who owned something, who did something for themselves. So the same is happening in Ukraine now, and I feel like we're getting so many stories now that I shared today of the phone calls of the invaders. They why they yeah okay they were coming from the side of the Belarus to Ukraine, and they would start shooting these suburban areas. And yes, there were rich suburban areas, as you get in any capital, in any of the city where like wealthier people live. And there were phone calls of the guy to his wife, and he was saying, "Oh, you know what I got for you today? I got you a fur coat." Like, so they were just like targeting civilian houses, trying to just steal valuable things from people who escaped that area. So this is all about it. And they also are, each of them, like of the Russian soldiers, is paid money. So they like contract military. So they don't go there just because they believe it. They paid money. Then their families are going to be paid money in a case if the guy is going to be killed. So this is just all about that. So because they don't have any other like business or job to do there, they just gonna get hired. It's actually very similar, I guess, to what happens in like in Islamic State, maybe, without like any reason, just go and kill other people and take things that don't belong to you. And the same happened in Donetsk region. I think I shared about it. So it was a very prosperous city, very close to my city, with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of like big businesses as well, because it's really rich in resources. And yeah, around that, like when the cities reach this, there's a lot of wealth, and it was a really wealthy city, making around 25 percentage of the GDP. When Russian soldiers started coming to the Donbass region, the businesses stopped and they couldn't work anymore. So this was really threatening to all the good people who created jobs for in the region. So they had to escape and they had to move to Kiev. And now I asked some of them to share their opinion. Some of them are really good clients of mine that I know for years now. So I know they don't even want to tell their story because they are super heartbroken and they find it really hard conversation to have. I just believe that, we as a young nation, and we want, we already proved ourselves to be a part of the European community, but at the moment we just need help by our older, like more democratic countries, because we just want to also, have our own time. Like we don't ask for the money, for the land, for like we don't need to be refugees in another country. We just want to live in our peaceful country, and the whole world can see that really big and bad country came and it's hurting a smaller country just next to it, like punching a small kid, and the whole world is watching. And yes, some actions is happening, but not big actions. So we're trying to change minds here. Ukrainians are gonna be, I believe, in 15 years, we're gonna be a really big part of the global community, even in the UK, even in the US. Now we have Ukrainian representatives to the Senate. So we're gonna be active in all like member states of the EU. So right now we just need a little bit more support. And I feel like um, actually some of the Slavic nations, like the Bulgarians, the Polish, they understand us so well and they are willing to actually help us. So this is that. And yesterday, we couldn't celebrate anything about the Women's Day. But you've seen my pictures and videos of the very brave Ukrainian women who are patriotic and they want to come forward to protect their country. This is what I feel as well, and I cannot be there now because I live abroad at the moment. But I'm doing everything to spread the word, to try to turn minds of the communities globally to come and help us. But we are really believing that. Ukraine's already almost like won the war. The reason why is because Russia is blocking all the media now. So they blocked Facebook. I think they're blocking all the like independent media on YouTube. They have tools to do that. So because they don't want their people to see how bad they were losing in the Ukraine. Unfortunately, already a lot of boys died, and we tried to try to tell them, please, like, don't do it, like, your people are dying here, we don't want your people to die here. And they couldn't listen because they didn't believe. That's how bad they were impacted by their government. Yes, people were asking me, is it true that Zelensky president left the country? No, it's not true. He's still in the country, as same as any other like respectable men in the country. They're there protecting their cities and their country. Um, so some of the humanitarian crisis was really bad, but yesterday, yes, the video that I shared in Russian, they already can understand that they're not gonna do anything in this war. They're not going to win. Now they're trying to get any like valid explanation for the people in Russia. Why did they actually do it? So they're trying to do, but we are really hopeful that the ice will shift, the ice will melt, and the Putin and his people will just not be governing Russia anymore. The sanctions are gonna help, and actually, like a lot of the properties, like the Russian oligarchs, they had this like system that money is coming from the oil and from the Russian economy was going through some of the offshores, like through different places like Cyprus and so, and then they were used to purchase really high value properties in London. And in London, they already are, arrested, and they're not going to belong to Russian people, like Russian oligarchs anymore. I think the same is going to happen in other countries. And U.S. took the decision to stop buying the Russian oil, which is going to help the economy of Russia collapse faster. So we know they're not going to be an aggressor. We don't know what's going to happen to other countries in this battle. Yesterday, I wrote a message, an email to Olaf in Germany, to chancellors from Germany, to ask them to also rethink about it. Because if you think about it, it might be the right time for the whole world to actually stop producing fossil fuels and actually focus on a big thing, on saving the planet, saving our climate change. And if we just like stop oil drilling whatsoever, and using oil, is will actually be beneficial for everybody. So this is the time for the whole world to come together, to stop the aggressor, to help my small, young but democratic country to defend itself, and to stop buying Russian oil and Russian products because they support the aggressor. And it will create the good, and it will be good for the climate as well. So yeah, I hope it was not so intense video for me, and I didn't have any more questions here, just this one from one lady who is trying to prove to me that yes, Ukraine had a biological labs in Ukraine. And yes, okay, um, thank you for that.